Welcome, this is M-Dog, and we're going to briefly talk about the recently announced changes coming to Hearthstone. And we've known that the patch was coming, and we've known some of the changes, or at least some of the cards that this was going to impact. But as of yesterday, December 9th, 2013, we have a blue post from folks at Blizzard that are giving us much more specific information. So just wanted to talk briefly about this, and the specifics that we have are actually looking at the cards that are going to be changed. So let's take these one group at a time here. First, Shattered Sun Cleric and Argent Commander. And basically the idea here that is stated is that these cards are getting chosen almost every time they're available at both 3 and 6 mana. It doesn't specifically say, but I would say this is probably often in Constructed and definitely almost always in Arena. You see Shattered Sun Cleric get picked up a ton at the 3 mana cost, and at Argent Commander a ton at 6. Almost every time you see Argent Commander, common thought is you would take him over a lot of things. So apparently Blizzard doesn't like that. They want more cards at 3 mana cost and 6 mana cost to be considered. So Shattered Sun Cleric is going from being which is now a current 3/3 that buffs for 1/1. They're adjusting that now to being a 3/2. It's still going to buff for 1/1, but it'll only have 2 defense on its body. So I think this will be noticeable, although I don't think it totally nerfs Shattered Sun out of the question. A lot of times when you play Shattered Sun, you're really playing it because that 1/1 you're putting on a different minion helps keep that other minion alive and helps you trade positively, or helps you trade up by giving it that extra attack. So I still think that and the Argent Commander will both still be desirable cards, although you may think a little bit more about it before just auto choosing them. And Argent Commander is similar to the change they've made. Instead of being a 4/3, it's now going to be a 4/2. So if you remember, Argent Commander has Divine Shield and Charge. So it's basically removal. It comes in, and often what you're doing is just attacking one of their minions with it, popping your Divine Shield, hopefully killing their minion, and then your Argent Commander is still left as a 4/3. Well, now it will be a 4/2. So it already only had 3 defense. For 6 mana, that's very low. And in fact, if you think about it, some of the better 2-drops that have 3 attack could take out an Argent Commander once the Divine Shield was popped. Well, now that it only has 2 life, now pretty much all of the 2-drops, even the lower 2-drops that only have 2 attack, will be able to take out an Argent Commander once the shield is popped. So it's a slight nerf, and I think we'll feel it, but again, I don't think it takes it out of the realm of a card that you would want to play. Alright, moving on to the next change they've announced, and this is, I think Blizzard is keeping their eye on these aggressive decks that have come up, and this may be a little more prevalent in Constructed. Not that it doesn't impact Arena, because it does, but right now the Warlock class is getting a lot of attention in Constructed, and a lot of the really successful Warlock decks, in fact there's one deck out there that when played correctly really has a high win rate, and it's a early to medium game aggro deck, and I think Blizzard is probably trying to address some of these aggro decks that maybe have gotten a little bit more powerful as people have gotten their minds around how to build them, and they're harder to control, or they're harder to counteract with different. So the first thing they're doing here is they're taking the Flame Imp, one of the Warlock's 1-drop cards that is a 3/2 and does 2 damage to the Warlock himself. The only change they've made, instead of doing 2 damage, it does 3 damage to the Warlock. This isn't going to stop people from playing it. I don't think. That 1 extra damage does add up, obviously. But having cards like the Flame Imp come out early that helps you get the tempo and the board control is so important. that it's probably still worth that 1 extra damage. I would assume that, as they say underneath the flame up in this short paragraph they have, they're keeping a close eye on those as time goes by, referring to the cards that help Warlock maintain early board advantage. I would assume more changes may be coming there if they're not wanting these aggro decks to continue to be so successful. I'm not sure that without changes, I'm not sure that the meta game is necessarily going to move away from the aggro style at this point. It feels like it's sort of settling in there, both in Arena and especially in Constructed. All right, moving on. The next change affects Mind Control, which is a priest card, and basically instead of costing 8 mana, it's now going up to 10 mana. If you've played Hearthstone at all, you know what Mind Control is. It's in the past has cost 8 mana. It gives you control of an enemy minion, so and it's permanent. All of a sudden you have that minion, so you choose the best minion that your opponent has played, or the one that is giving you the most difficulty or you feel will completely swing the game around, and for 8 mana you take control of it. Then, starting at turn 10, or I guess turn 9 if you had the coin, you could not only mind control something, but you also would have 2 mana left over, so potentially playing something else, or healing yourself or one of your minions, or even the minion you've just mind controlled. So basically what they've done is with mind control, they've put it off where you can't play it as early. So you can't play it on turn 7 with the coin, or turn 8, now it's going to be 9 or 10. And they've also taken the ability to do something else with that play. So I think this is fine. I've heard a lot of people talk about different possible changes they could have made to mind control. I actually liked some of the other creative thoughts about changing mind control better than just adding 2 mana to its cost. But I think it's still effective. I think this is an effective change. And it makes playing mind control just not quite as easy. I think it's going to take a little bit more of the right situation. I don't know that this will necessarily drop mind control out of all constructed decks suddenly. I think some people will still run it, but it'll certainly probably get played a little less. Finally, a couple of changes for the Hunter class, which this is a little odd, just in the sense, for me, someone who has played a lot of Arena. To me, Hunter is pretty weak in Arena in a lot of cases, but in Constructed, it's a different story, and I talked about that in my video yesterday where we were playing Hunter in Arena. So 2 cards that have been changed. First, Starving Buzzard, and this is the card that allows hunters to draw a card every time they summon a beast. And this is a 2/2, but now it's getting changed to a 2/1. So this is going to basically, for any class that has the attack ability as part of their hero ability. So for example, mages are the example that come to mind, pinging your minion for 1 damage. Now the Starving Buzzard is just a much easier target to hit. So I think this is significant. Blizzard states in this that Hunter was strong against druids, mages, and rogues, and those are the 3 classes that can do at least 1 damage to an enemy minion. So they're saying this will help even the playing field. Starving Buzzard is very strong, although most players that I see when they use it, they're only counting on getting card draw on the turn that they play Starving Buzzard. They know that card has got a huge target on it, that it's either going to get silenced or taken out, most likely as soon as they have played it. So I'm not sure this, at the end of the day, changes how many cards people actually can get out of it. I guess it does. There are those rare cases where someone just can't deal with it, and now it only has 1 health on its body, so especially those classes mentioned before will be able to take it out and try to minimize the card draw that the hunters get. And finally, let's talk about Unleash the Hounds. This is the last hunter card that, at least at this point, they've announced is going to be reworked. Unleash the Hounds in the past has given all of your minions a bonus to attack and given them charge. So even if you play them that turn, and that's what the one-shot kill was doing, the one-turn kill. The hunters were playing all these little minions, and unleashing the hounds, sometimes twice, giving them bonus to attack and giving all those minions charge. Boom, one shot, they killed you. Well, now Unleash the Hounds, completely different card. So this will probably remove the one-turn kill, at least in its current state. I mean, you know, we'll have to see what people can do with this. But what's going to happen now is Unleash the Hounds is going to read, for each enemy minion, summon a 1/1 hound with charge. Now there's a 4 in parentheses, so I may be missing something here, but it looks like maybe they're saying this is going to be a 4 mana cost card. But I don't know that for sure. But we do know that it says, for each enemy minion, summon a 1/1 hound with charge. So this is almost like a comeback card now. You know, if in fact, this would be really good against an opponent who has played a bunch of little minions against you. Because then you're playing Summon the Hounds and you're getting a 1/1 hound with charge for every minion the enemy has. So if they've got a bunch of Murlocs on the board and you play Summon the Hounds, all of a sudden you've got all of these hounds filling up your board. Now, if you don't have a way to buff them, then, you know, and the Murlocs are buffed, if they've got up to 2 or 3, 4 health because of the way they've buffed each other, if you don't have a way to buff your hounds, then that may be a problem. But think about playing Starving Buzzard. Let's say you've got 2 cards. It's Starving Buzzard and Unleash the Hounds. Think about playing Starving Buzzard and then Unleash the Hounds. Well, you're going to get a card draw, I'm assuming, for each hound that is summoned. Now, we'll have to see how all this plays out. And there's going to be lots of different ways. This is not necessarily just a comeback mechanic, and there may be ways to buff those hounds even on that turn. Remember, they're going to have charge. So there may be ways to buff those hounds, or, you know, you put the hyena down and you run all those hounds and kill all the enemy minions, and the hyena's just boosted out of it. You know, so there's still the possibility that Unleash the Hounds could be really powerful. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm kind of excited to see, you know, when a card gets changed this drastically. Yeah, if you've been a hunter and you've been counting on the one-turn kill playstyle or deck, then this is probably going to make you adjust some things. But I'm excited to see how this plays out when all the great minds that are playing Hearthstone kind of come together and work this card through its paces to see what they come up with. Might be something as equally or even more terrifying than what's currently out there with the one-shot kill. So anyway, thank you for watching, and we're going to go ahead and finish this up. Again, blue post from Blizzard summarizing what changes are coming. You know, we're in closed beta still. They're saying open beta is going to be coming soon, but for Blizzard, soon doesn't necessarily mean what you and I would mean when we say soon. So we're hoping this month, but I think it's very possible it'll be after the new year. Now, for this patch, I think the patch will be, I would feel like it's probably next week or two that we'll see these changes actually brought into the game, certainly before Christmas, which would be the next week or two. And then I think the patch will come before open beta comes. I guess it's possible it could happen at the same time, but I think they'll go ahead and introduce this patch and make sure everything's working as intended. But anyway, I can't wait for open beta so that everybody that wants to play this great game can be playing it. I certainly feel bad that there's still folks out there that, for whatever reason, haven't gotten a beta key and are still wanting to play it. But thanks for watching, and just wanted to share my thoughts here on the announced changes that are coming to some of our Hearthstone cards.